Welcome back, children. I hope you all have enjoyed the previous class and also understood the concept of the village, palampur, and how the organization of production is done and what are the three main things in that organization of production. So, let me just recall the points, that is, capital, labor, and the land. And in today's class, we are going to discuss about farming in Palampur. And in that, there are three things which we are going to study today. So, first one is land is fixed. Is there a way one can grow more from the same land? And will the land sustain? So, these three things are connected to the land itself. So, if the land is fixed, how can one grow more crops in the same land? And if they grow, will that land sustain? So, these are the things we are going to discuss in today's class. So, first one is the land is fixed. So, why we are saying the land is fixed? Because the land which the farmers are having are not increased nor decreased. They have same. They don't have any option to increase their land. So, that is the reason we are saying here the land is fixed. So, farming is the main production activity done in Palampur. So, most of the people are dependent on farming, and almost 75% of people in village are depending on farming for their livelihood. So, as I told, it is the main production. So, if it is the main production, it means the people are almost living their life on farming, and out of that, most villagers are either farmers or they are farm laborers. Now, farmers are those who own their land, whereas the farm laborers are those who don't own their land but still they work in the other's field. So, that is the reason we say the land is fixed and it is under the cultivation. But since 1960, there was no land expansion. So, that is the reason why the government has changed the decision and they allowed the villagers to use the wasteland, and then they started converting the wasteland into cultivable land. So, by this, their production increased. So, now the SI unit of land. To measure a land, we need SI unit. So, the standard unit for measuring a land is hectare. But you see, in many rural villages, they don't use hectare. Instead, they use their common names like you can say biga or gunta. So, as you know, 1 hectare is nothing but 100 meters. So, you can imagine now if 2 biga is there, 200 meters. If it is 3-4 bigas, then you can multiply it. Okay. Now, next one we will study about, is there a way one can grow more from the same land? Now, as I said you, the land is fixed. When the land is fixed, you cannot increase your land nor decrease. But within that land, how can one grow more crops on the same land, whether at a time or season wise, like you can see. Okay, so here Palampur is resembling village of the western part of Uttar Pradesh. So, when you see towards the Uttar Pradesh, even there are the rural villages where they have the same facilities like in Palampur. So, all land is cultivated in Palampur. No land is left idle. It means not even a single piece of land is left simply. Either they try to grow any one kind of crop. So, that is the reason it is said no land is left idle. For example, you take the whole year when they start in rainy season, the farmers grow jawar and bajra, that is kharif crops. These are grown during rainy season because they require more water. And then after that, these plants are used as cattle field. Once they are grown, once everything is done, their remaining parts are used for cattle feeding. And then next, after rainy season, from October till December, the cultivation of potato is done. It means in the same year they are growing another crop. After bajra and jawar, potato is grown, and then during winter season the wheats are sown, and that is called as rabi crops. It means during winter season you don't have any kind of rain and the water requirement is also less for the wheat, so that during that season the wheat is grown. So in this way farmers keep enough wheat for families consumption and sell the surplus wheat at the market at Raiganj. So in this way the whole year whatever they produce, some they'll be selling in the Raiganj and some they'll be selling in the other towns. For example, you can take the wheat what they grow, that is used for the family purpose also and as well as for selling in the market. And after that a part of the land area is also devoted to sugar cane. It means, what do you mean devoted? It means not only potato, jawar, bajra, wheat is grown. Along with these things, even sugarcane is being grown on the same land, and this is harvested once every year. So they don't grow sugarcane just to eat and enjoy, but instead with this sugarcane they remove the raw form that is called as jaggery, and this jaggery is sold in Shahpur. As I said you, the wheat is grown and sold in the Raiganj market. The same way sugarcane is grown and from that jaggery is made, and that jaggery is sold in Shahpur market. Okay, now I guess you might have understood why we say the land is fixed. Though the land is fixed, but still people are managing to grow more crops on the same land. Now next is, now you might be having doubt how it is. That method is called as multiple cropping as well as mixed cropping. I'll tell you the difference between the multiple cropping and mixed cropping. Here multiple cropping, it means this will help in the increase of farm production. How? That is, to grow more than one crop on a piece of land during a year is known as multiple cropping. It means in one year, season after season, you can say the crops are grown. So that is multiple cropping. In the same land they are growing the crops, that is after one season after the other. So that is called as multiple cropping. Whereas mixed cropping, it means to grow more than one crop on the same piece of land during the same time. See here, there is a difference over here. Here we are talking about during a year. In 1 year, according to the season, the crops are grown, that is multiple crop farming. Whereas during the same time, that is at the same time, at a time, two crops are grown on the same piece of land, and that is mixed cropping, you can say. Now you see here the figure. This is multiple cropping, you say. Within the same year, they are growing different crops according to the season wise. But whereas here you see on the same land, two crops are mixed. Here you can see this part, this is beans, and this you can see wheat. So at the same time, two crops are grown on the same piece of land, that is mixed cropping, and the more than one crop is being grown on the same piece of land during a year, that is multiple cropping. So I guess you people might have cleared the doubt. In this, land is fixed, more than one crop can be grown in the same land. Now for that you can see there are some roles, like role of irrigation is there, electricity, multiple cropping as I told you, modern farming methods, and these are the things where they will increase the farm production. How? I'll tell you how they are all linked to each other. Now what is irrigation? As you all know, supplying of water through wells, tube wells, ponds and oceans for the crops so that they can be grown. And how this irrigation is being helped by the electricity. Now electricity is very much well in Palampur, you can say. So when the irrigation facility was electrified, it means used by the irrigation, farming in Palampur got improved. That is, before in the villages watering was done by hands, you can say, but now through the electricity, that is with the help of hand pumps, tube wells, you see more water is being drained so that they can give more water for the crops. So in this way electricity has transformed the system of irrigation in Palampur. That's why we say these all are connected to each other. As I just now told you what is multiple cropping, and now we are going to study about what are modern methods of farming. Now, using modern farming methods, we can increase the yield from the given piece of land. How? I'll tell you. What are modern? That is, we use HYV seeds, as you all know, high yielding varieties of seeds. These are those seeds which are genetically modified. They are not naturally, but they have been modified by the human so that they will have bigger in size and they can yield more, you can say, and the structure is also varying. That's why these are called as HYV seeds, that is high yielding varieties of seeds. This is the one where modern method of farming is being used, and the second one is using modern machineries like tractors and threshers. In olden days, you see, people used to use their hand to dig the soil, to sow the seeds, and also for watering and all. But now you see, modern methods are used. They don't use hands to dig the soil. Instead, they use tractors. While harvesting, they use threshers, they use winnowing machines. Okay, so these are the things where modern methods of farming have been changed. That is by using HYV seeds and by using modern machineries. You see here, there is a threshing machine. You can see how the useful things have been separated by the unwanted weeds, you can see. This is a machine for threshing for removing the crops which are grown. And then you can see here how the modern method farming involves. You can see here are HYV seeds, pest fertilizers, farm machineries where he's been used tractor, diesel is required for it, irrigation, canals, you need water for the crops. Pump set is there where if the water is less, through the hand pumps they drain the water more, and these are the dams, and electricity. Through electricity, these all things are being used. So this is modern method of farming. Pesticides, fertilizers, HYV seeds, tractors, these all things are being used so that the production can be increased more. Now next we are going to study about what is green revolution. First I'll tell you the definition of green revolution. It is a large increase in crop production in developing countries achieved by the use of artificial fertilizers, pesticides and this HYV seeds. As I told you that if you want to increase the production, you have to use modern methods. You cannot go for manual methods and increase your farm production. So when you're using these artificial fertilizers, HYV seeds, pesticides, then your production increases, and that can lead to the green revolution. So now in late 1960s, along with like palampur, farmers in Punjab, Haryana and Western Uttar Pradesh, these were the first states who used the method of green revolution, or you can say using of HYV seeds, irrigation, chemical fertilizers and pesticides to increase their yield. It means the crops they can grow easily and more in quantity, you can say. So you can see here how the modern methods are used. Here you can see a person is plowing. You can see here the different machines, and these are the HYV seeds. You see they are different, and you see the size of these seeds, and here you can see he's been pesticiding, and you can see here all kind of different things have been used. So these are all modern methods of farming where they use these things to increase the farm production, and these all have been used first in Uttar Pradesh, Punjab and Haryana. Now after using these all things, the land is fixed, the crop is grown, more crops are grown on the same land. So after these all things, using the modern method, green revolution, will the land sustain? What do you mean by sustain? It means will the land be able to handle this all at a time? So that is, land being a natural resource, it is necessary to be very careful in its use. As you all know, it is a natural resource, and when we are using the natural resource, we should be very much careful. Now, scientific reports indicate that the modern farming methods have overused the natural resource base. So, according to the survey, what it is being said is the land, that is the natural resource, is being used more by what? By the modern farming methods where more chemicals, more fertilizers, more pesticides have been used, where the land is completely destroyed, you can see. And in many years, green revolution is associated with the loss of soil fertility due to increased use of chemical fertilizers. So in many places you see, like Haryana, we said these are the places where the green revolution has been started first, and these are the places where there is a lot of loss of soil because they used more chemical fertilizers for the land. No doubt in starting they got lot of profit, you can say lot of production, but later on the land was losing its fertility because of the use of this chemical fertilizers. Now next, as I told you in the starting itself, so if the land is fixed, one can one grow more than one crop on the same land, and if he grows, what are its advantages and what are its disadvantages? We read growing in same piece of land will increase the farm production. In the same year, a person can grow many crops as according to the season. Along with that, using the modern methods of farming also, green revolution was led. But after this all, what are the negative impact of green revolution? That is associated with the loss of soil. Why it is loss of soil? Because due to the increased use of chemical fertilizer. So this is one negative point, you can say, or disadvantage of using modern method of farming. And also the second one is continuous use of groundwater for tube well irrigation, and it has reduced the water table below the ground level. Why it has increased? Because when you use the pump set to drain the water, it takes its full pressure and pulls the water. Once it is used, then the water table will reduce its water. That is the reason they may lose water also. And next one is environmental resources. It is also affecting the environment, like soil, I said you, its fertility is being lost, groundwater is losing its water, and it has been built from over years, and because of using it frequently, the modern method, these are the things which they are going to be faced, and once they are destroyed, it is very difficult to restore. Once the land loses its fertility, to gain its fertility it needs a lot of time, and once the water is drained or over, it takes a lot of time to recover. So these are the negative impact of green revolution or using of modern methods of farming. So in order not to happen these things, we must take care of the environment so that we ensure our future development of agriculture is safe. So well, I hope you all might have understood today's class and what are the 3 points and how they are connected to each other. If the land is fixed, the crops are grown, the production is increased. With the help of modern method of farming, people are engaged, the more quantity is grown. But along with this, the bad impact, or you can say negative impact, is also there. So in the next class, we are going to study 3 more topics, and that is how the land is distributed between the farmers of Palampur, and who will provide the labor for that, and what is the capital needed in farming. So till then, if you have any doubt, you can clear it. Thank you.